What's up, everybody? It might not be everybody. It might just be like one person that tunes in, even after it gets posted. But I definitely wanted to just give a few experiences that I've had as a young broker, like when I first started in this industry. Um, One of my first loads was a load that I made 1 cent on. And that was my profit. That was my entire profit on the load. So it was actually the first ever independent freight broker load that I got. Like the first one where I was the boss, I was the everything. So that was my first load ever. And it was crazy. I mean, 1 cent was great profit. It was 43,000 pounds. It was paper product, and I took it for 700 bucks without having a carrier. So I took it at 700, and I had a couple days to source a carrier. So I said, okay, perfect. You know what? I'm gonna just put this up on the load board. I'm gonna email a few carriers. It's gonna be fine. It was 300 miles, 300 and some miles, and I posted it for 500, nothing. I posted it for 550, nothing. I posted it for 600, nothing. I posted it for 650, nothing. I posted it at 675, and I got a gentleman calling me, and he said, you have this load. Can you give me the details? So I told him it picks up here, goes here, 300 and some miles. I forgot the exact distance. And he said he would need 725 for it to run it because it was getting him back home. And I said to him, wow, 725 is fine. I can definitely send it to you, but I do have one request. And I gave him the request, and I said, I just, on my first load, I don't want to show a negative balance, just for morally, for that morale, not moral, but morale, that how do I say that, confidence boost. Can we do anything? Can I give it to you for 699? And he said, man, he's like, I definitely would need 725 on this. And I said, listen, man, like, I'll help you out the best I can on future opportunities. Can we just do 699.99? And he was laughing, and he said, all right, young fella, we'll do 699.99. And if you can remember me for the future, that would be great. And it's just so happens that he actually helped me with a lot of stuff out of Pennsylvania later on, but not because specifically because of that shipment, but because he helped me out in a time of need, just in a time of need where I just wanted to show a positive balance. And the strangest thing about all of that, as an independent freight agent, the check that came in the mail for me was 1 cent. And I have that check somewhere still. It's 1 cent. That was all it showed. And I actually don't think my bank would have even accepted a 1 cent check. So I just kept it with me because it was like, there was no point of me going to the bank and doing that. So that was one of my first experiences, and completely independent, like nobody breathing down my neck, down the side of my face, like, have you covered this load? Why did you lose on this load or anything? Don't get me wrong, I've lost on quite a few shipments as well, like in terms of like the overall being in the red on the shipment. So I'll take a load for like 1,200 bucks. I end up paying 1,350 or 1,400 or 1,450, wherever the case may be. But it's gonna happen. It's definitely gonna happen, and you wanna look at it not per shipment basis per se, because it's not gonna be good if you run into a stretch where you potentially have, 2 or 3 loads where you're losing on them, $10, $50, $100, $200. So just keep that in mind, that it can happen. I mean, it can happen to the best of us. That was my earliest experience by myself where I had to figure things out completely by myself, and I just wanted to get the ball rolling. So it was a good learning experience, for sure. Another thing that I wanted to mention was how to communicate with carriers as well. So when you're communicating with carriers, um, you want to be kind. I mean, they're doing the best they can in most cases. Um, I worked with a lady that was never in the industry before. She was always in like manufacturing and assembly line work. So she never really got into freight brokering or logistics, per se. And I remember she was in the office the first week, and I asked her maybe I think it was 3 days into the week, like on a Wednesday. I asked her just if she could take some of the check calls because I had some other stuff going on in the office. This was back in 2012, and she was trying to go down the list of loads we had on the board that were like already picked up and like in transit. So I asked her to do the check calls, and she couldn't get a hold of this one carrier. So she called the carrier 3 times, like nobody answered. She emailed them like several times, nobody answered. And then she finally got a hold of someone on the phone, and she was like, "Who is this?" And they're like, "It's this is my company, all this stuff they're saying." And they're like, "Well, where the fuck is your truck?" And the guy was like, "Whoa, lady, like, why are you speaking to me like that? Like, I'm in dispatch. Like, I can get you an update. Like, why are you being so mean, right?" "Well, I just need where the fuck your truck is." She was like screaming at him, and like we all looked at her in the office. We were like, like it was like she escalated the situation instead of de-escalation, right? So when she hung up, like she went out on her like coffee smoke break, like just outside of the building, and I went outside to like stand with her and like drink my Coke that I was drinking at the time, and I was like, might have been better if we just like talked to the carrier a little gentler. And she's like, "Well, why is that?" And I'm like, she's like, "They're assholes, they didn't show up, they didn't answer her calls." And I was like, you just have to speak to them nicely. Even in emails, just ask them, kindly, can you guys please update us on this tracking request? Customer is in need. If you need to escalate, ask for managers, ask for supervisors, ask for the boss, the owner, whoever may be in the office that can help provide better service. So that's definitely something that you can relate to as a young broker, is trying to call for check calls or for visibility purposes if you're using a technology, if it glitches or something, to talk with your carriers that are giving you their capacity. Just be diplomatic about it. You don't have to scream over the phone or you know give him an earful that way. You can go about it a different way. um, Another thing that happened in the office like that was calling out other dispatchers in front of the entire office. I don't really see it as being productive. So in that case, I was actually one of the dispatchers, or lead dispatcher. I mean, freight broker, but still dispatcher, whatever you want to call me. Um, the lady was doing a check call, and she said, "Who the fuck booked this guy?" She always did those kind of things, right? And I laughed and I looked at her, and I was like, "Yeah, I don't know who booked it. Like, I wonder, I wonder who it was." And she was like looking at me. She's like, "You fucking booked this guy. He has a foreign name." And I was like, "Okay, like I did book him." And then I started to laugh, and I was like, "Listen, it's gonna happen. Like, you're gonna run into communication issues with your carriers. You just have to do it the proper way. Like, you have to be diplomatic about it. There's you're not going to get any benefit from screaming over the phone and trying to get an issue resolved, a check call at least, So both of these scenarios I'm sharing with you, it's just natural to have it happen. So you have to just try to mitigate risk and get answers as to why the delay in communication. You know, why the missed check call, or why the missed answering of the phone. With drivers, it's understandable, you know, safety reasons. But with dispatchers, sometimes you have to get a better picture as to what the excuse is. Why did they not answer? You just simply ask. You don't have to scream and yell over the phone. So there's my 10 minutes worth of just experiences you're going to have. I mean, they're real life raw experiences. And I'm just going back in my memory thinking about the hundreds of different ones I had. The lady was great. I mean, that worked with me. She was a joy. Like, she was hilarious. Like, I loved every time she would say, "Who the fuck booked this guy?" And when it was me, like, I would just burst out laughing because I provide all the information, everything that's needed, even links to tracking if needed. But she wanted like the answer right away, this moment in time, this second. Where is my truck? Why aren't you answering your phone? She was great. She was really great. I have no um, negative feedback about her because she was just trying to do her job. But I just gave her kind of like a seed and said, like, we just need to do it a different way. We just need to be diplomatic. And when I started, like, my first times, like my first shipments, I was, I got frustrated, not like pissed off, yelling over the phone, "Where the fuck is my truck?" Frustrated, but just, you know, scared that the customer might not want to work with us again. It wasn't my customers, but I treated them like my customers for the guy I worked for. And so, if they asked for an update and I couldn't get it, I got frustrated that I couldn't provide them the service that is promised. And it didn't matter to me whether I took the load, or the lady behind me that worked took the load, or the gentleman right across from my desk took the load, or the three or four people in the other corners took the load. To me, it didn't matter. If they called, like, my name is in that company as well. Like, my reputation is on the line. The company's reputation is on the line. So if something is not how they requested, you just get a little bit jittery, a little bit frustrated that you can't provide that answer. So take a moment, smell the roses, relax, everything will be okay, and move on with the day. So there you have it. That's just some stuff I wanted to share with you, and hopefully somebody takes something from this that's positive. And remember, the next time you ask, "Who the fuck booked this guy?" that you know that this stuff will happen. And if you say, "Where the fuck is my truck?" that you know exactly that this is something that can happen in this industry, and it does happen and will happen. And I don't know how much technology we can develop and develop that can help mitigate this. I mean, you can get the visibility, you can get all of that. That's fine. But if you need an actual verbal, human to human connection in terms of getting that information verbally, yes, the truck is there as you see it on the screen. Um, I don't know. I find that very useful, and another form of great customer service. So, anyways, cheers to everybody. Hope everyone has a good Friday. I'm on to my next consultation in 3 minutes. Cheers.